What is going on, guys? This is Bunny Muffins. I have the patch 10.21 patch notes for Teamfight Tactics. Let's see what's going on here. So it's a pretty big patch. I did a brief preview on my website at bunnymuffins.lol, but looking at the summary here, let's just go dig into the details because that's what I'm actually really interested in. So first up, rank rewards. So if you place gold or higher in one of the Galaxy's rank stages, you will receive Victorious Hauntling. So this is in set 3 and set 3.5, if that's more familiar for you. Looks pretty decent. Let's see how it goes. If you place gold or higher in both of them, you receive the Triumphant Hauntling. They look the same, or slightly different. You got more of a crown here, but let's go into some of the stuff that's actually interesting, which is the changes for the game now. So we changed the shop odds for the start of Fates in order to make rolling in the shop feel more diverse, valuable, and fun. Unfortunately, it had a side effect, which was a lot of 3 stars. I agree with this completely. If you guys have played set 4 at all, you'll notice that a lot of the winning teams have a lot of 3-star units, and not just the 2-cost 3 stars like Aphelios. It's like 3-star Riven, 3-star Jhin, things like that, 3-star Ahri. And so they're removing this change. So if you guys didn't know, before, the shop made it so that anything you didn't buy in the shop, it wouldn't appear in the next shop. But now it's back to the old shop, so nothing's changed there if you played from a while back. So they also modified the chosen appearance rate to reduce some of the worst luck cases and streakiness, and you are now guaranteed to see at least one chosen by stage 2-2. So what this means is that there are a lot of times you roll a lot of gold and you don't hit a chosen unit, and now this is fixed. You'll see chosens more often now, and hopefully that should bring the variance down a little bit in the game. So now looking at the traits, general balance changes. So shades are being changed. Let's see what they have here. We're reducing the effective time being stealth by changing how the shade trait triggers. Stealth now takes effect after 3 attacks instead of on the 3rd attack. And shades will now auto attack 3 times. Then after the 3rd one lands, they will stealth and do bonus damage on their 4th attack. Overall, this is a nerf to the trait. Of course, this is good because shade was broken. If you high roll it and if you get like a 3-star Zed with the RFC, no one can target him because they have the shade buff. So that's why they changed that. So I'm very happy with this change. Let's get into everything else. Adept attack speed slow is now being buffed. Now instead of being 2 seconds at level 1, it's 2.5, 3 to 4 seconds at level 2, and 5 to 7 seconds at level 3, which is 4 Adept units in the game, or 4 for the trait. So I love Adept personally, but with the prevalence of Quicksilver Sash, this trait is just not that good. So I'm glad that they are buffing this. But I also heard they are nerfing Quicksilver Sash, so I wonder why they did both. I feel like they only had to do one or the other. So Hunter bonus damage is now 175% at all levels, and this is being changed to scaling, so that's good. It rewards adding more Hunters. Moonlight 5 now exists, so this essentially stars up the 2 lowest champions. Nothing that crazy. You get 2 4-star units now, but this is really hard to hit. Getting to 5 Moonlight, you need the Moonlight Chosen, and then you need to hit 3 stars of Silas, Lissandra, Diana, and Aphelios. Good luck, man. It seems it'd be nice for a YouTube video, but I don't think if you're playing competitively, you want to try this quite yet until they buff it a little bit. Mystic, Magic Resist. Maybe if it start up the 3 lowest champions, that'd be really cool. But I think 2 might be a little too weak. So Mystic changes. Magic Resist is now being increased by 5 at 2 Mystic and 4 Mystic, and up to 25 at 6 Mystic. Pretty good change. I rarely ever hit 6 Mystic. I feel like there's a lot of physical damage in the game. So while Mystic is very useful because against teams like Ahri, of course, it's going to be great, there's a lot of physical damage. So unless you're in a 1v1 scenario where the other person's doing only magic damage, I don't really see much value into going for 6 Mystic. But I'm glad that they buffed it a little bit because I find in a lot of my games, I'm looking around and I'm like, oh, I don't need Mystic this game. Even though all the Mystic champions are really strong, like, if you don't need the trait, sometimes there are better units to put in. I'd rather put in a random legendary, for example. So I guess this buff does help them a bit, gives you a bit more incentive to go for Mystic. Ninja finally buffed. 4 ninjas are getting a 30 attack damage and ability power boost. I am very happy about this. If you guys have been here before, you guys know that I love ninjas. Even though they're not good right now, I love playing them. I think the concept of the trait is super cool. So I'm glad we can at least attempt to try this again. So this is the shade buff again. We won't go over this because we already talked about it before, but essentially the bonus damage now applies every 4th attack rather than every 3rd, and they disappear after the 3rd attack instead of during. So overall, the damage is being nerfed very, very slightly, but it's a nerf overall. Vanguard now 8 Vanguards exists. That's going to be kind of cool. I think it is, yeah, 1500 armor, which is more than we've ever seen before. In set 3.5, when there are 6 Vanguards, you could get up to 1000 armor, but 1500's a lot too. When would I want to do this? Also, 6 Vanguard got buffed. It's now 600 armor. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty useful, but you need a lot of spatulas and you need a Chosen to do it, so I'm not really sure if it's ever going to be that common to hit 8 Vanguard, but 6 definitely is a little more attractive now. So Cultists, we want to smooth out the Cultist power curve, as the trait currently provides a large power spike in one stage and falls off significantly in the following stage. That makes complete sense, so they're going to make Galio scaling now. And they also made it so that playing 4 or 5 Cultists is not useless anymore. I'm guessing it's the same for 7 and 8 Cultists, but each star level of your Cultist will now grant Galio 12% bonus health and attack damage. For example, 1-star Cultist will grant Galio 36 bonus HP and AD, and his base health is being changed accordingly. It's being dropped, of course, because it needs to compensate for this added buff. And so overall, I'm guessing they're going to make 6 and 9 Cultists a little weaker, but make it stronger if you get it all 2-starred. And it pretty much scales with the strength of your team. So if you have like 6 Cultists, but they're all 1-star, you're not going to have Galio 1v9 anymore. But once you get like a bunch of your guys 2-starred, it'll probably be back to the same strength. And then if you get them all 2-starred, it'll probably be a little stronger. Now let's look at Divine. It's getting reworked, so odd that they did that because I've been seeing Divine played a bunch. I'm sure that they redid Divine because no one was playing it, but I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's a very popular 4 Divine, 4 Duelist build or some combination of that, which was picking up in popularity. So I am curious why they reworked it so quickly, but upon attacking 6 times or dropping below 50% health, Divine units remove all crowd control and ascend, taking 50% reduced damage and dealing 50% true damage for the duration of the ascension. So for 2 Divine, you get 4 seconds. 4 Divine, you get 7, 6, 10, and 8, 14 seconds. 14 seconds is a very long time. I don't really see an incentive to go up that high because at 6, 10 seconds, that's like you pretty much, if you have a carry that's itemized, he'll hopefully kill everything by the time that 10 seconds is over. So I don't really see that much of a point to going to 8, but it is an interesting change. We'll see how it actually plays out in the game. So Fortune... Oh, another thing that's interesting, the remove all crowd control effects is probably the coolest part about this. Fortune, the average gold's being reduced a little bit. Fortune was a little too strong, especially 3 Fortune. I don't know if you guys were playing it a lot, but it's pretty much an auto win if you hit a Fortune Tahm Kench early, and then maybe you hit an Annie or a Katarina randomly, and then you just pretty much get a ton of gold compared to your opponents throughout the course of the early game, and it's completely broken. And even if you lose, that's still fine because you get a huge fortune payout later once you win. So they're nerfing this. Average gold value dropping by half a gold at various levels and 1 gold at the 2 loss level. And then they also removed the 5 cost drop possibility at 4 losses. This is good, so you don't randomly see a legendary Kayn from someone who's not level 7 yet. So yeah, overall it is a nerf. They are buffing 6 fortune because again, no one plays that one. But they also lowered the chances of a 5 cost drop, which is interesting how they do that because I feel like no one ever gets to the point where they play 6 fortune and keep it on the board for a while. So overall, like good changes though, because early game fortune at 3 was way too strong. Man, so far they've been doing a pretty good job. The only thing I don't like so far is the divine change, but let's keep going. Diana is being nerfed. So at 4-star Diana, she has 1 less orb. Elise, restore on attack, is being buffed at 3-star, so that does nothing because no one gets her to 3-star. Nidalee, javelin toss damage bonus per hex is now being increased. Oh, it's double actually. That's kind of cool. Maybe we see more Nidalee. I always thought she was a good item holder, but now she's even better. And maybe you even want to pick up Chosen Nidalee because I think that's what they want to do with this change by making Chosen Nidalee a little more attractive than it was before because no one really picked that or prioritized it that highly. And the biggest change of the patch, maybe not biggest, the shop changes is the biggest, but Aphelios' turrets now stop firing when Aphelios is disabled. So yeah, that means when you're stunned, Aphelios' turrets don't keep attacking. I think this is also for Guardian Angel, where he won't get a lot of attacks either. I don't know why they did this because I felt like Aphelios was pretty weak now after the changes. You really only go for Aphelios if you get like the perfect Aphelios start. And of course, once you do end up hitting the 4-star Aphelios, it does kill everything. And a lot of times those players get first place, but there's a high risk, high reward, in my opinion at least, for it to pop off. So doing this change makes it pretty devastating in my opinion. There are other items that work. I've heard that Bloodthirster Aphelios is really good, same with Hand of Justice, and even though it's worse than stuff like Guardian Angel on the previous patch, it's still good enough to be played, but we'll see if that actually holds true. Jarvan Dragon Strike damage, it's being increased by 250 at 3-star Jarvan, so I'm actually a little afraid of this because when I played the PBE, a month ago, some dude had a 3-star Jarvan with Jeweled Gauntlet, and it was killing my entire backline. And I'm afraid that this is going to be realized even more with this change. So maybe it's something to try out. If you guys try this out on the patch, let me know in the comments after you do it on my newest video or whatever. Doesn't have to be this one, but yeah, that'd be interesting to see because that's something that I kind of want to try going into the next patch. So Jax's starting mana is being increased by 10 on both the starting and final mana. So overall, this is a nerf because that means his second and subsequent casts are going to take longer. I did release a mana video recently, so if you guys want to know how mana works on each champion, go ahead and check that out. I'll leave a link in the description below. Teemo Sporecloud dart damage is now being increased. Pretty good buff. No one was really playing Teemo for the damage, but Teemo, I don't think he works as a item carry because he doesn't reapply more damage when he shoots more darts onto people because it's a damage over time. So if you hit someone with 2 darts, it still does the same amount of damage because it's damage over time. But it's still a good change. It makes him slightly stronger than before, and he wasn't really played too much other than in spirit compositions. So tier 3, Kennen Slicing Maelstrom, 3-star buffed by 450 damage, which is 50%. Pretty big buff for Kennen. Maybe Reroll Ninja is going to be back because you could go ahead and hit 3-star Zed, Akali, and Kennen. And that's a lot of damage. Would be pretty fun to see. So Veigar Spell Power on kill being nerfed at 2 and 3-star. That's another pretty big nerf. Veigar is strong, but I don't think he was that strong. I wonder how much ability power he loses over the course of the game with these changes. If someone has any data on that, go ahead, let me know in the comments. But I didn't think this might be a little too extreme, maybe. Because I still like playing Veigar, but I don't know. This seems like a big change. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Ahri nerfed, understandable, both in health and in damage at 3-star, 50 damage at 2-star. Yeah, pretty deserved. She was very strong. She one-shots entire team, so makes complete sense. I wonder what units she doesn't kill with this damage change, because of course with all her damage multipliers, 50 damage might end up being 200 damage, which actually makes a difference between someone living with 1 health or dead at 0 health. Jhin's 4-shot damage is now being changed, so at 3-star Jhin, he now does a lot less damage. So I'm very curious why they nerfed, because I see all these guys, they're all being nerfed, all these 4-star units. So Riven, 3-star being nerfed, Talon, 3-star being nerfed, everything else staying the same. But I really wonder why they're doing this, because again, if we look at the shop changes, it's much harder to get 3-star forecast now. So why do you have to nerf the 3-star forecast? I feel like you should let them be strong, because then it's more fun and you try to go hit them and then they kill everything. But it's really difficult to do, so it's a big risk reward. But maybe people are overestimating what the shop changes actually did before. So I really am curious about that. But I really don't see the point of nerfing these, though, because, again, they're so much harder to hit now, so they might as well be more rewarding. This is like nerfing them in 2 different ways, both with the shop change and now with actual numbers. Now on to tier 5. Azir is he's being buffed at 3-star. Well, this is never going to happen, so no need to worry about that. I wonder why they chose 8s. Kayn Reaping Slash is now being nerfed at level 1. That's fine. Yeah, Kayn was really strong. Oh, he actually has a Shadow Form damage buff decrease from 75% to 50%. This is probably the biggest nerf to Kayn, more so than this one. Kayn still should be good because he's great for the Mana Reaver, but maybe he doesn't solo backlines as quickly as he did before. Lilia is getting her sleep duration reduced, or no, changed. It's now 3 seconds and 4 seconds instead of 3.5 at levels 1 and 2. That's a good change. It makes complete sense. Zilean Rewind Fate number of targets is being changed 2 to 2 and then to 2 to 3. And he's getting his heal amount adjusted. So at 2-star, he now heals 200 less. I like this change overall. So reviving more units or putting the ultimate on more units, it makes complete sense because he's a higher level. But now it also makes sense to build ability power on Zilean, whereas before it didn't really make that much sense to do it, because a lot of times you could overheal people and then that's not good for anyone. But I like that they incentivize building AP on Zilean now, because now when you have a leftover item, he's a legendary unit, you want to put your leftover items on your legendary units. A lot more options work for him now. So I really like this change for Zilean. So I like pretty much all the 5 cost changes right here, but the 4 costs, not so much. Items, Chalice of Power, bonus spell power increase from 30% to 40%. That's pretty cool. That's actually quite a bit of spell power, so maybe it's an item that can work in any comp now. Gargoyle, Stoneplate, bonus armor and magic resist per enemy is now being increased from 12 to 15. Keep in mind, this is a number that it was at before. So this is going to be really good for ninja comps, because ninja comps run a solo tank. And this is going to be good for Annie comps, where Annie is the main tank, because again, she's the solo tank. So whenever you're running a solo tank, this item, Gargoyle Stoneplate, is going to be the best item for you, because they essentially make the most use of it. And this was OP at 15 bonus armor and magic resist before. They nerfed it down to 12, so I wonder why they went back to 15, and why not try like 13 or 14. But that's a lot of ninja buffs, because again, Shen makes great use of this item. Locket of the Iron Solari is being buffed by a lot. Holy cow. I don't know if it's going to be played, because you could just play Keeper and get the same effect. But that's a pretty big buff. So I love Locket. It's one of my favorite items from like earlier sets, set 1 and set 2. It was very slammable early, and I really liked that. But I think it was only slammable early game because the damage was different back then. And right now the damage is so low in the early game that you don't really care if you lose that much. And the damage is so big in the late game that you really need to get the best items in the late game in order to win all those fights. Luden's Echo now deals bonus damage to shielded or crowd control enemies, similar to Statikk Shiv. So the base damage got nerfed, but you get double damage on crowd controlled enemies or shielded enemies. That's kind of cool. Kind of like an anti-shield synergy, which we don't really have. Quicksilver duration reduced from 12 seconds to 10, so that's one nerf. Remember how I was talking about Adept before, where you slow the attack speed at the start of the round? Well, now that Quicksilver's nerfed, why did they buff Adept? So now it's getting double buffed because people are less incentivized to build this item, and your numbers got buffed for Adept. So I wonder if that's too much for them, too little. I'm not really too sure, because back in the PPE where people were not building Quicksilver Sash, Adept was one of the best synergies, so I'm actually pretty scared about this. Statikk Shiv damage is being nerfed, 85 to 75, but the bonus damage is being buffed by a lot. It's now 175 bonus damage, so that is a ton. And they also fixed a bug where the lightning chain could break if it encountered an untargetable stealth unit. All right, good change. Makes people want to build Statikk Shiv a little more. Zeke's Herald bonus attack speed increased from 30% to 40%. I wonder if that makes it good enough. Again, I think Chalice of Power has always been a good item. They're just better items. But Zeke's Herald, I don't know if that actually makes it an item that you would want to build quite yet. Zz'Rot now taunts all nearby enemies at the start of combat to the wearer for 2 seconds, and the construct attack damage is being buffed from 70 attack damage to 150, which is pretty big. Now he actually might do something. Bug fixes: fix a typo in Fortune, clarified Morellonomicon tooltip, fix an issue where the following units would show the wrong color of their spell on the tooltip when given spell power. Pike's ability now hits slightly in front of him, allowing him to hit cornered units. That's kind of cool. Fix a rare issue where Chosen could appear in the shop, but buying it would give you a 1-star copy of a different unit. Kayn no longer casts if there are no enemies in range he could hit. Set no longer casts Showstopper on an enemy set who is out of combat due to the boss. And fixed a bug with specific Fortune loot tables that were dropping a bit more than intended. Alright, so that is the changes. Just to sum it up, I actually think this is a pretty good patch. They did a pretty good job. So I rate it maybe like an 8.5 out of 10. The only thing I don't like is the 4 cost changes, because they're so hard to hit the 3 stars now, so it just doesn't make sense to nerf them in my opinion. I also thought it was cool that Jhin had 4444 as his 4 shot damage, because that's the number of his theme. I really like the Kennen changes. Not too sure about Veigar. I don't like the Divine change because people were finally building Divine and then they change it right after. So I wonder if people are still going to do this, or if it's like maybe it could be broken OP or like something really bad. I don't really know. We'll have to just play and find out. Fortune change really good. Shop change really good. Adept, I'm on the fence. It might get a little too strong because people might not build Quicksilver Sash as much as they did before. But Ninja buff, I love that. That's definitely going to be the comp I'm going to be wanting to play once the next patch hits. Let me know what comps you guys want to try in the comments down below. And apart from that, Meta Snapshot coming out on Friday. I have some nice gameplay footage coming out on either tomorrow or Thursday. And yeah, if you guys are new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe down below. And if you guys are returning viewers, thanks so much for tuning in again. Go ahead, hit the like button if you guys enjoyed this video, but I will see you guys on Friday for the Meta Snapshot and tier list. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and of course smash that like button. Each like is an LP I gain before the next video.